Well, we're back fully. It is December. It's the Christmas season. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, season greetings, all that great stuff out there. Hope that you enjoyed your Thanksgiving holiday. We're in the last month of the year. We're over 900 subscribers, on our way to 1,000. Thank you for those who have been subscribing to us. Thank you. If I haven't yet, hopefully today's the day I've earned your subscription. But one thing we have discussed here about is freedom of speech. A lot of it. We discuss this all the time, but there are those out there that want to remove our rights on there because they don't like what we're talking about. And they will call it hate speech. They will call it pornography. They will call it many things. They use a word salad. Some of them use religion to chastise what people do online, what they do in their own homes, as far as that. They want to control the internet as far as, they're saying like, well, we have to protect the children. The children.
Oh, won't somebody please think of the children?
I've gotten tired of this, because basically they're using children to try to control everyone. Whereas there are things that are in your computer. If you're a parent, there are things in the computer right now that you can activate very easily to protect your children. The other half is you should sit and discuss and see what your children are watching. You say, well, I don't have enough time. Make the time. Yes, I know you might have two jobs in the situation, but your family comes first. This is how we have problems in the family unit. These are the same people, when you hear these people, the rhetoric going on, some of these people want to get rid of the nuclear family. And look at the problems we are in here in going into 2024. We are almost into 2024. And, the problems are just, multiplying exponentially. Well, one thing we majorly on here that we discuss is, the anti-porn rhetoric that goes on there. And you have to ask yourself just one question. Who determines what's adult content and what is porn? You got to remember, you got to put that in perspective, because there are those out there that will sit back and tell you a woman in a bikini is pornographic. A woman in lingerie is pornographic. Someone on the cover of a sports magazine, beautiful woman, is pornographic. Sex sells always. Being sexy, being beautiful, it sells. What we've seen in the last decade is the massive attack against a lot of this. And I've always said they're not going after the porn. They're going after things that they don't like. Groups like Morality and Media, which is now known as NOSC, N-C-O-S-E. They're hiding themselves to say we're protecting the children, but what they really want is to get rid of things like comedy, action films, certain magazines off the front counter, which they were successfully taking off Sports Illustrated and Cosmopolitan off the front registers at Walmart. Why would you take Cosmo out? There's a book, that's a magazine that's written for women, discussing things that women discuss about. And even if it's about sex, that's okay. Because there are people out there, that do have problems with sex. They do have problems with relationships. You see what has been happening with this. But yet, the religious right doesn't want you to discuss these things. They say, well, you talk with your priest and you go by the Bible. Well, The thing about it is, you have to remember, things are misinterpreted by the Bible in today's age. People don't understand that the Bible was written in a different time, different place. Look at it to the perspective they see about sinning and all this stuff on there, but yet read it truly. And I think, and I bring this up, the West Wing, that section in West Wing, great episode in West Wing where Martin Sheen is chastising this woman and saying, like, hey, listen.
Here's one that's really important, because we've got a lot of sports fans in this town. Touching the skin of a dead pig makes one unclean, Leviticus 11:7. If they promise to wear gloves, can the Washington Redskins still play football? Can Notre Dame? Can West Point? Does the whole town really have to be together to stone my brother John for planting different crops side by side? Can I burn my mother in a small family gathering for wearing garments made from two different threads?
These are things that are written in the Bible. But you have to remember, the Bible is only a template to life. It is only just things that basically can assist you to go forward. You can't take everything to the language of it. You take it to the main basic things, love one another, turn the cheek, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt, all that is stuff that is in today's spotlight.
Get on with it!
Get on with it! Yes, get on with it!
Now, you're familiar with Glenn Beck. Let's get on with this. Glenn Beck, he has his own programming on there. I've had my disagreements with Glenn Beck, and there's a couple of things that, it's like, that I've agreed with him. Mostly I've disagreed with him. I don't like his programming. I don't watch really his programming. He happens to be one of these religious rights. That basically, these radicals that are out there that, that promote these faith-based programs, these laws that, they try to push into, our Constitution, which basically a lot of it violates it. Now, recently, and this was back right at the holiday, like I said, some of the great stories always come out right at the holiday. Now, out of experts, we're going to read this into the Glenn Beck's program promotes faith-based anti-porn surveillance app. Why would you survey people? It's none of your business. What I do on my phone, what on my computer, what's on my TV, unless it violates constitutional law or, if it's a crime that it's against, the local laws on there, you try to promote these things and basically you're taking away the freedoms of people without even realizing it that you're doing it, or you do realize it. The Glenn Beck program aired a segment Friday promoting faith-based anti-porn surveillance software. Covenant Eyes editorialized on recent news that the current Republican Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, is a user and subscriber. The 15-minute segment featured a conversation between guest host Justin Barkley and Covenant Eyes CEO Ron DeHaas. DeHaas is also a board member of NOSC, the powerful religious-inspired lobby known as Morality of Media, which has its mission to eradicate all pornography. According to the NOSC definition, pornography encompasses anything from Cosmopolitan and Sports Illustrated magazines to all adult content. Think about that for a minute, ladies and gentlemen. They defined it as what's in Cosmo, what's on the pages of Sports Illustrated. Sports Illustrated has sports on there. They discuss sports. Yes, they do have a swimsuit edition, and that's a once-a-year situation. And they also consider all adult content. Now, understand what adult content is. Most people, they try to redefine it as pornography. No, adult content is anything that any media, entertainment meant for people over the age of 18. That includes R-rated movies. Yes, folks, this is include R-rated movies. They're not going to tell you that. We're not going to go after the R-rated movies. No, bullshit. These are the words you have to remember. The word salad they throw at you. The things that they sneak in. Remember, these are politicians. And politicians sneak in stuff into bills that doesn't belong there. That's what I've long strived to say. When a bill is pushed on there, it should be also able to be seen properly by the voters as well. Because basically, when you're voting someone into office, they're working for you and me, not for themselves. And what they do is when they get, a lot of these guys when they get into office, is they're working for themselves and those above them that have the big money. Yeah, and that includes religious groups as well. Corporate, religious groups, many others that hand out big money. This is a situation. This is a big situation in New York right now we have, like with Mayor Adams and the country of Turkey right now that's going on. The investigation that's going on right now. Barkley prefaced the interview with editorializing comments from the mainstream outlets, including Rolling Stone magazine, which is not the original Rolling Stone. It's changed much. It's become totally woke, which characterizes Johnson's admission that he and his teenage son use Covenant Eyes to monitor each other's internet usage to avoid pornography as usual. I don't mind being called crazy when normal is so evil, when it's so wrong, Barkley committed. I don't mind being called a little nutty, but I don't want to be normal, and neither does Manga Mike Johnson, apparently. Like, I love, that they threw in that's manga, I'll tell you honestly, until I hear it out of Mr. Trump's, former President Trump's mouth, these are situations that this is the reason why the first term of President Trump went wrong. Is because there are people like this in cabinet, on the Republican side, that basically they didn't really care about what the president wanted to do. They just cared for what was being put in their pockets. DeHaas, who promotes what he calls his accountable software from an office park in Oswell, Michigan, located in the economically ravaged expansion between Flint and Lansing, told the Glenn Beck program audience that the media has been misreporting the true story. The true story is Mike Johnson is a good father, he told Barkley, and you're right. People have taken that and turned it around to evil, like that it's an evil thing. Being a good father is a bad thing. Being a good father is not a bad thing. It is a good thing, but it depends on how you handle yourself to the situation. Sit down and talk with your children. Understand this. People put children on. Their babysitters are the video games and the laptops and tablets and stuff like that. They don't take a moment to the Sunday dinner. Sit together, have a meal together, and discuss things that have went on. Or when you get home from work, sit down on there. No, it's basically the fast food, going, or having the babysitter bring the food over on that because you're working extra hours. You don't take time off for your children. The only time you do it is maybe the vacation. According to the Haas, Johnson's recently resurfaced endorsement for the profit anti-porn service at a panel at a Baptist church gathered a year ago is likely honest. The Speaker of the House is doing an advertisement for Covenant Eyes because he talked about Covenant Eyes accountability and how well it works, and how he used Covenant Eyes successfully to teach his son to stay away from pornography. You don't need software to do that. Sitting down and talking about, what are you watching? What are you looking at? He may not be watching porn. He may be watching girls in bikinis. How old is his son? His son's in his teenage years and he's looking at girls in bikinis. There's nothing wrong with that. It's growing up. You're aging up on there. The actual story is the Haas has stressed that Mike Johnson is a good father and had the desire to discourage his son from getting trapped by pornography, and not only that, he sets an example for his son by holding himself accountable with his son. Mutual accountability. So's the real story is Mike Johnson is a good father. We could use more good fathers who are active and engaged in parenting, and we ought to salute them. Here's the major problem with that, and I'll tell you this on there. This has nothing to do with pornography. It has to do with politics. And if you look at the changes between the 1960s to present day on the nuclear family, you have minority single moms out there, a large amount, who have children, no fathers around. Where are the fathers? See, we promote these situations that, one thing that you need to discuss, the old days is the birds and the bees. What are the birds and the bees? As a parent, and if your son is old or daughter is old enough, have you sat down and discussed about the birds and the bees? That sex talk. No, you don't hear this anymore from parents. So what happens? Kids listen to other kids, and basically they get to the situation where, they have sex at a young age. They're not talked about to these situations. A lot of this can be avoided if we discuss. We used to have people who went to church, discussed with their priests the situations. And they tried to put to the points that, and a priest will tell you, you need to sit down and talk to your children. It's very important to be with them, be interested in what they're watching, what they're reading. That's another thing. Kids don't read like they used to. And the thing about it is, you have the propaganda from the other side that are trying to push sex into young children. They said, it's a book ban. They're trying to get rid of these. Those books don't belong. It's not a ban. You can go out and buy the book yourself. If you could go out and buy the book from Amazon or any other place, there is no ban. People make the misconception that they've banned the books. No, the book is not part of the curriculum. Now, if it's a book that there is no problem with it, that isn't controversial, and the school says, well, we don't want it. Well, why don't you want it? There's nothing wrong with The Glass Menagerie. There's nothing wrong with Catcher in the Rye. Because they say, Catcher in the Rye influenced this such and such, such and such. If you saw that joke with, on South Park, where he wrote this Butters wrote this regular book and it caused someone to kill the Kardashians on that, and it wasn't something that was insane. See, the thing is, what happened with that is someone with mental illness. Mental illness can be triggered by anything. Understand that. Let's continue on here. DeHaas used the segment to share his views about adult content in general without providing sources for his panic-mongering, sweeping claims. And that's the other part of this. These guys will make accusations that just literally, doesn't exist. It doesn't really exist. That he told Barkley, we have to face the fact that virtually everyone now, that there are few exceptions that I've come across, but virtually everyone has been tempted by porn on the internet. The statistics show the upward of 70% of men and upwards of 50% of women are actually having an ongoing struggle with it. What do you mean by ongoing struggle? What research have you done on this? And who has backed that research? No, this is just people saying that it is. Creating fake research papers that say, well, this is how it's been. DeHaas claimed that he has corresponded with hundreds of teens and young adults who have struggled with porn since they were younger than 13. And these kids that have come from good homes, their parents are really shocked to find this out. Although religious conservatives like DeHaas have consistently opposed attempts to implement science-based sex education in U.S. schools, the faith based entrepreneur, complained that porn has effectively become the sex education of our young children. No, it hasn't. No, it hasn't. What has happened is parents have not talked about it. It is taboo to talk about this. That's what's happened. And look what has happened now. It's cut the balls of boys, and literally it's almost phasing out women. Think about that for a minute. Think about that for a minute. It is training the boys, this is how you treat girls, and it's teaching the girls, this is how you get treated. It is really becoming the sex education of our youth, he stated, completely ignoring, as Nosk and other anti-porn activists routinely do, the existence of the LGBTQ people and content. The rest of the segment included a bizarre innuendo filled aside with trying to link every existence of online porn to the growth of the erectile dysfunctional industry. 2 decades ago, the ad for the drugs were older men talking to older men in the ad. The 74-year-old Daha shared, now you listen to the ads, it's young men talking to young men, and so that's the results. Barclay replied, tonal fudging the line between joke and actual statement. I could see the headline here, porn is a communist plot, and I want you to say that that is a version of evil, and it is a very seductive version that may start out in a very sort of reliable or introductory way, and it gets worse and worse over time that people have talked about this. But it really does seem to me that we're under attack these days, not just obviously with the physical, but we're facing on the battlefields, across the world, but also in our hands. We got these devices, he went on, now fully conspiratorial. There is an information battle happening. There's a battle for the soul of the nation in a lot of ways, though information propaganda, but if you can get it seems to me, into the relationships of men and women, even stopping them from having them at all in America. And you can put a lovely husband and wives, and just an affected people in a way that you could do a tremendous damage. Barclay then added that this seemed a fulfilled, a fable or a prophecy popular among religious conservatives about what the devil would do to Daha, to which Dahas replied, you're absolutely right. Pornography is damaging every relationship that you can think of. If your family, your friends, it impedes your work, it impedes whatever ministry you have. And 93% of our members say that the reason that they are. Barclay then added that this seemed to fulfill a fable or prophecy among religious conservatives about what the devil would do, to which the Haas replied, you're absolutely right. Pornography is damaging every relationship that you can think of. It's your family, your friends. It impedes your work. It impedes whatever ministry you have. And 93% of our members say that the reason that they are one of the reasons that they're using Covenant Eyes is to improve their relationships with God, and they recognize that it has been damaged. The segment ended with a full promotional plug for Covenant Eyes without disclosing whether the GLEP program has been compensated for this infomercial-like news segment. Now, the thing is, in this last segment that you saw on here is rhetoric again, and they say 93% of our members, 93% of our members. People have problems in their relationships. You should not ban the pornography of it. In a lot of cases that recently on there, pornography has helped couples that have gone through situations. Not a lot, but it has helped some people. You got to remember, magazines like Cosmo talked about relationship problems. That's, you have to talk with your spouse. You need to talk with your spouse. See, that's the thing. They put a blame on a utility, something that is, a tool. They put a blame on that, but it's like gun rights. You put the blame on the gun, but actually it's the person behind the gun that's the issue. if you're having a problem with your relationship, if you're having a problem with your marriage, you need to sit and talk about it. I've been with my wife 15 years. A very satisfying 15 years. Married 8 plus. We've gone through our situations. Yes, we have. There are times where I've been very mad at my wife, and there are times when my wife has been very mad at me. But here's the one difference, is we've discussed this. We've sat down and talked about it. That's why our relationship gets stronger and stronger every year. Because we discuss what is on our minds. There are people out there, they're going to entice their relationships. They're going to go out, women are going to go out and buy some sexy lingerie, sexy clothing, to entice their husband. Okay? That's normal. That's okay. Husband's going to go out and get a nice bottle of wine, take the wife out to dinner, somewhere really nice, a show, try to boost their relationship. But see, that's the problem these days. You have single moms out there. There is no man in their life. They're working hard, but also they have emotional problems as well. They try, a good chunk of them try to blame the man for their situation. But it's a two-way street. You made the decision to sleep with this gentleman. You say, well, he enticed me. As human beings, we push for procreation, for an emotional connection. There are those of us that don't want to be lonely out there. And this is why we seek, the opposite sex. We seek for someone to be in our lives. That's all part of life. That is the instinct that has, been ingrained in our souls, our bodies ourselves, and people will say, well, the porn is ruining this situation. Porn has been around, since man, was able to write on the cave walls. There are many different statuettes. Now, India, you got the Kama Sutra. Okay? You got many different tribes who built statues for fertility statues. Those statues are in museums to this day. People will call them pornographic. Yes, but that is what, was done back then and today. They want to cancel out these novels like Fanny Hill and many other. There's a whole slew of novels. There's a whole slew of movies that goes into discussing, really, they say, well, it's a sex romp. It's a sex romp, but, it's, some of it is romance, someone looking, you got to look into the situation, is that they're trying to find connection in their lives. Yes, it titillates the person. Yeah, it titillates your mind. Keeps your mind fresh, actually. That's why I say there's nothing wrong with porn. It's another form of entertainment. And, if you're religious to the situation, and I know some people on BitChute will say, like, oh, it's evil, something. But see, the thing about it is, as someone with free will, you don't have to watch it. Nobody is sitting there saying, they say, well, it's all over the internet. Well, what are you watching? What are you looking at that it throws it at you? Do you understand? You have to type in certain things for it to come up on your screen, to come up on the algorithm. Google doesn't sit there and throw adult content at you unless you're looking at. And there are safety features on Google and other programs that basically will block it, that basically will cover the screen up as far as, and images and shit like that. It's all there. You have ad blockers. Ad blockers! Use your ad blocker if you feel that is happening. People get, you could block the ads on certain websites. So it doesn't come up. If you have porn coming up on your screen, look at what you're looking at first. If you're looking at something that comes close to it, yeah, that's why you're seeing it. So tell me in the comments below your thoughts about this. Because this is just another result of those on the radical right. Yeah, and I'm saying it, the radical right. I do criticize the left and the right. That's why I'm no longer in the Republican Party. I'm no longer in the Democrat Party. Tell me, your thoughts about this. And don't take it for the example that porn is evil. Take it to the example of censorship, which this is what it is. It is pure censorship. People will say, throw out child trafficking, human trafficking, stuff like that. Is there that stuff that happens? Yes, it happens all over the world. But guess what? They don't go after the true danger, those who are involved. When you have people like guy from Sound of Freedom going after traffickers directly like that, and the U.S. government not doing anything in that and telling them not to do it, then you gotta ask you a question: why aren't they wanting to do it? There could be resolutions across the board going after these people, going after these traffickers, going after these drug lords. We have had held accountable certain people, but we haven't gone all the way on it. Why? Because there are those in power that are involved and doesn't want to get caught on this and lose their power base. This is why I say we need to change people in our government. We need to have proper elections. We need to have people that will do the job. They are sent to Congress and to handle the halls in our government, to protect us and to use the Constitution properly to protect us. So stay strong. Question everything. Be sure to protect yourself, because a lot of these people don't want you to voice your opinion. And that's right, voice your opinion. Until next time, have a good one. See you on the next video.
Thanks for watching. Before you go, please comment, like, and share this video. Also, if you haven't yet, please subscribe, as this helps the reach of our channel. Finally, as a content viewer, you have that ability to help support this and many other channels. Especially now more than ever, since the passing of a new law in the United Kingdom that will diminish the reach of many channels and affect our advertisers. If you wish to help grow this channel by financial support, you have two ways. There are two links in the description below. The first will send you to a pay site where you can make a monetary donation. The second will send you to our gear store where you can purchase t-shirt, mugs, and other specialty items. Any additional discounts will be listed on the main page. Once again, thank you for watching and your support.